Okay, so just a quick recap of the divisibility rules we went over in class. So to see if a number is divisible by 2, you can look at the last digit of the number. So for example, in 3,978, you are going to look at the 8 and see whether it is even or not even. If the last number is even, then the number is divisible by 2. So 3,978 is divisible by 2. Now, if you're looking at the next number, 4,975. 5 is an odd number, so it is not even. Therefore, it is not divisible by 2. Looking at the number 3 and whether numbers are divisible by 3 or not. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, then the number is divisible by 3. So, the sum of the digits means that you're going to add up all the numbers. So 3 plus 1 plus 5, 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9. Is 9 divisible by 3? Yes, it is. Therefore, 315 is divisible by 3. Let's look at 139. If I add up all the digits, 1 plus 3 plus 9, to find the sum, I get the number 13. 13 is not divisible by 3. Therefore, 139 is not divisible by 3. Moving on to our rule for number 4. If the last two digits form a number divisible by 4, then the number is divisible by 4. So for this one, you're not adding up the last two digits, you're just looking at the last two digits. So in 8,512, 12 is divisible by 4. Therefore, the whole number 8,512 is divisible by 4. Let's look at the next number, 7,518. The last two digits form the number 18. Is 18 divisible by 4? No, it is not. Therefore, 7,518 is not divisible by 4. Moving on to the rule for 5. If the last digit is a 0 or a 5, then the number is divisible by 5. So in 14,975, the 5 tells us that it is divisible by 5. If I had a 0 at the end, so for example 14,970, that would also be divisible by 5. However, when you look at the number over here, 10,978, our last digit is not a 5 or a 0, therefore the number is not divisible by 5. So, 6. In order to understand the divisibility rule for 6, you also need to remember your divisibility rule for 2 and 3. So if the number is divisible by both 2 and 3, then the whole number is divisible by 6. So our divisibility rule for 2 was that the last digit was even. So in 48, our last digit is even, therefore it's divisible by 2. And the divisibility rule for 3 was if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So 4 plus 8 equals 12, and 12 is divisible by 3. So 48 is divisible by 2, 3, and therefore it is also divisible by 6. Let's look at 20. Since 0 is an even number, I know that it is divisible by 2. However, when I add 2 plus 0, I get 2. And 2 divided by 3 does not work. Therefore, it is not divisible by 6. Divisibility rule for 9. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. So this is similar to the divisibility rule for 3. So if you add up all the digits, 7 plus 1 plus 1, you get the number 9. 9 is divisible by 9, therefore 711 is divisible by 9. Let's look at 93. 9 plus 3 equals 12. However, 12 is not divisible by 9, so 93 would not be divisible by 9. And our last rule we are going to go over today is the divisibility rule for 10. If a number ends with a 0, or the last digit is a 0, then the number is divisible by 10. So 15,990, our last digit is a 0, therefore the whole number is divisible by 10. We also We also remember that if the last digit is a 0, it is also divisible by 5. Now look at this next number, 10,536. Even though there is a 0 in this number, it's not the last digit, and therefore it is not divisible by 10 because the last digit is 6 and not a 0. So that was just a quick recap of the divisibility rules we went over in class and practiced. Feel free to take notes if you need to.